You're welcome to the Economy and Politics Show. I'm Ottoabasi Abasiekong. This edition will discuss the Reconstituted Securities and Exchange Commission Board and expectations for a fit-for-purpose capital market ecosystem. Joining me virtually for this conversation is Mr. Ebo Ayodeji, MD, Chief Business Officer, Afrinvest by Optimus. Nice to have you on the program.
It's great to be here.
Yes, it's nice to have you on the program, yeah. Let's begin with Nigeria's equities market, which urgently needs increased primary market issuances to deepen the market and boost liquidity. What should be the approach of the new Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, that's Dr. Agama, in enhancing the regulatory environment for more initial public offerings, IPOs?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. And I'll first like to congratulate the new board of the Securities and Exchange Commission. This is really a very strong board. These are very experienced people in the industry. I would expect a very positive change in the markets. And on your question, I think first of all, there's a need to build more trust and confidence in the markets. It takes a lot with they just continue to reemphasize the transparency within the market to build trust so that we have more people come into the market. And when you check the number of people that currently trade the capital markets that are active are less than 100,000 active customers, which is still very minimal. So while we're building trust, then we have to now use the role of technology. There's a lot of sectors that we believe that can see what we can adapt. I'm not saying we just copy. So we see within the digital asset, which is the cryptocurrency, the forex market. Why do people trade that market, even if why they don't understand? Because you would see that a lot of the people that trade that market don't have the knowledge, but they still trade it, they lose their money, and they still stick with the market. So for a market that is more structured, what are the things that needs to be done? First thing is the transaction T+3 days. That's most times that you have that it takes you almost 4 days to get your money, to get value for your money, needs to be taken care of. It needs to be reduced. The US will be reducing theirs to T+1 from there. So there's a need for us to review that. Secondly, technology should be used to drive any primary market offer going forward. We've seen the template, what MTN has done, very successful, and we should not take ourselves back. So now we're expecting the market, the recapitalization of the banks. It should be driven by technology so that it would have more people to able to apply for it. And lastly, I think that in terms of time to market, so when transactions, number of period that transactions used in the approval process is too long. So that needs to be reviewed and shortened. And I think if we start on that note, the market will be able to attract more people into the market, see more products introduced into the market, while we're also safeguarding investors.
Very well, Mr. Ebo. And of course, beyond the equities market, there is a fixed income, because you play big both in equities and you also are big in the fixed income and the unlisted securities and of course the commodities exchange. We need to have a real value chain, whole development of the ecosystem. And of course, Nigeria has huge opportunities for that. So providing diverse investment options for Nigerians, how would you advise the new SEC executives to position the regulatory body to be more proactive, supportive of this capital market development process?
Okay, thank you very much. And if we look at some of these products that you have beyond the securities or the equities rather, for the fixed income, there's a need to improve the retail space. So how can they partner with technology? So currently, most of those that trade fixed income are institutional investors and qualified investors, individuals that trade the market. So how can they encourage technology while putting the SEC, their role is to safeguard investors. So while putting controls in place, how can they encourage more technology and to be redistributing fixed income instruments in the market to encourage retail investors to participate? We also see the NASD, that's for the unlisted stocks. Technology would be the game changer. I think one of the major advocates for digital assets also now the board of the SEC. So we're expecting that to see more constructive policy around that would also help to improve the adoption of digital currency, digital assets, as well as putting the right framework and encouraging people to financial technology firms to also have that. So I think by and large, the market is about products, and investors need varieties of products. If we are able to, while we are providing investor education, which is the major gap, all these other securities, technology is the way to go, and providing more clarity. So a lot of us that play within the financial technology space, regulation has always been a challenge. We are not clear on what you should be doing, which part of it is regulated. So once there's also clarity, so it would have a lot of people come and you have that synergy. Once you begin to see that synergy, that will really help with that space.
Right. Thank you for that perspective, Mr. Ebo Ayodeji. Now, you mentioned initially the recapitalization exercise, and you talked about the fact that, yes, we should look at digitizing the process. Very exciting. But the last CMC, Capital Market Committee meeting, we've talked about guidelines are going to come out for the recapitalization of 2024 to 2026 banking conversion exercise. What are your expectations? What would you like to see beyond the digitization process that you've advocated?
Okay, thank you. So some of the things I would like to see along that process is the dematerialization process should also be digitized to encourage people. So a lot of people have bought shares in the past. They are not encouraged to buy more because of the process they are going through in verification. Secondly, there's what we call mandating accounts. So you buy shares on the floor. In the secondary market, you are registered with your BVN, you're giving your bank details, but you are asked to still fill a form before you can receive your dividend. This has to be eliminated because it's the same details that you need in that demand form. So if it's going forward to start with, when you open new people that come to the market, they don't need to go through that order and that process. That would also really encourage it. So, and on the recapitalization, we all recall what we went through in 2007, 2008. The process has to be more coordinated such that when you purchase the shares, you purchase your rights within a very short period. You should have. So those guidelines should be set in place such that the advisors to these banks will know that they need to put things in place. And the best template you want to make reference to is still the MTN, that within 2 or 3 weeks, customers had access to their shares. Shares were, for most people, their shares were already in their CSS account. So that template needs to be adopted to build confidence in the market. And I would say lastly, the registration process, the application for approval should also be shortened, should be reviewed, because that's part of what, when you have long delays in getting approvals. But we believe that this new board would also improve on what has been done in the past to ensure that the number of days required for approval is also worked on.
Now, you mentioned earlier the issue of digital assets like the financial technology need for clarity. And the Securities and Exchange Commission, the last Capital Market Committee meeting, they've talked about a digital division now in SEC, which is good. But what should the new SEC leadership do differently, having a digital division now in place?
Okay, thank you. So I think the first thing is that they need to license, look for reputable firms and license them. Because currently, it's not, while with the rule or the draft is available, the rule is, it's also not clear. Secondly, they need to engage the CDN so that they are clear on their stance. You can't have two apex regulators across the bank and the capital markets having two different positions. So at their level, there needs to be, they need to harmonize and have the same stand such that we know whether it's allowed in Nigeria or not. So that needs to be clear. And if they need to put safeguards and rules in place, it should be jointly done so that they protect protect investors and also protect the economy. So I think that's what needs to be done within that, because there's a lot of innovation that is going within that space. So, and that's part of what also excites me. I know one of the current new director on the board has been pushing for digital assets, trying to get approval, and now is now on the other side. So we believe that he should be able to push more on and even more refine it with his experience over the years to get this done and to make it available, accessible to everyone. I think there's a lot of opportunities that we can use blockchain for in Nigeria.
Yeah, very, very well. I know the commissioner you're talking about, but that's good news, and we expect a lot from the new team. For capital market literacy, I know your role, what you do also, but in deepening it, how do you like to see more enlightenment carried out? I know that there's a capital market financial literacy committee, and they're doing a lot of things around and have plans. But how do you like to see more partnerships with bodies like ACMAN, Ashon, CIS, which of course you're there, the IAPM and AIHN? More coordination, more partnerships. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, there's significant gap. So, and that's why I'm also playing in that space, that each day as it papers, you see that there's significant gap in that space. So which means that for all these regulators, this association, there's no saturation. They need to do more to provide awareness, to provide confidence. We need to see more, if it's collaborated adverts, talking about the market, drama in different forms, talking about how people have saved and how they've made money in the market, how they've lost money, teaching them how to invest. They need to gamify it. These are some of the things that will make it interesting to the younger ones. Hold, maybe it's essay competition around the stock market, around the capital market, that will create the awareness that the younger ones will want to begin to learn a lot about this. A lot needs to be done. In our dialogue, in different languages, they need to come up with what I'll call financial education around the market, around stocks. And they get someone to explain stocks in Yoruba, in Igbo, in Hausa, in Pidgin, so that people begin to understand how to invest in stocks, how to invest in treasury bills, commercial paper. So there's a lot that still needs to be done. They are trying their best, but it's still like scratching the surface because the gap is a lot. You meet people every day, even they are doing very well in their field, but when it comes to investment, they actually don't know anything about investment. They don't know beyond the fixed deposits. So you would see that at that level, that you feel they are very knowledgeable, very experienced in their chosen career, in their chosen field, but they don't have that time or that opportunity or the opportunity to listen or to hear about this, how this investment really play. And the more we talk about it, it will help Nigerians to build wealth. You look at the savings ratio, savings to GDP ratio is still around 5%. Yes, we know that there's the challenge around disposable income, but it's also a culture that needs to be built. There's what we call 100 by 65 in Singapore, that people begin to, as they start work, they are trying to save 100 million to a target about 100 million at the age of 65. when they retire. That's their retirement age. So they already know, some of them, even in their school, they know that this the kind of culture or mindset that they've built. So there's a lot that I think we need to still do within that space. And as we do that, we'll be able to build also a more wealthier Nigeria.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Ebo Ayodeji. It's been very, very insightful. Just in 30 seconds, how can we strengthen investor protection? We've seen what has happened in 2008 global market crash and how that affected the retail investor base. We still do not even have up to 10% of the population as active retail investors in the market. How do we strengthen investor protection?
So I think the best thing to do is to build trust and be transparent in our policies. And there's still a lot of things going on in the markets that people still question. I'll put it in my doubt. People still question, why is this allowed? So as long as you have one or two things like that, then it would be affecting investors' confidence. So there's a need. Yes, the Capital Market Protection Fund has been set up. How do they speak? Have people been laying claim? I know there are few instances that people have laid claim to it. How can they publicize that people are confident that even if I buy my shares through a registered stockbroking firm and I lose my shares or they sell it, I'm being protected based on the fund. I'll be able to secure my funds back. In the US, just like on our platform, when you buy shares and so anything happens and you lose your shares, you're entitled to about maximum of $250,000. So there's confidence that if anything happens to a registered firm, and that is why anything happens to a registered firm, they would be able to get back their shares, and the insurance, we call it the insurance, covers the investment.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Ebo Ayodeji. It's been an interesting conversation with you. And down in the city of Kano, I wish you all the best as you continue to deepen financial literacy, get more retail investors, and of course, continue to impact the market from what you do. But thank you for this interesting conversation on the Reconstituted SEC Board and of course, the fit for purpose capital market ecosystem in Nigeria. Thank you once again, Mr. Ebo Ayodeji, MD and Chief Business Officer, Afrinvest by Optimus. It was nice having you on the show. Thank you. To our viewers, if you want to get further insights on this conversation, visit the ProShare website displayed on the screen and follow our social media platforms to engage further on this show. Also, note that ProShare is preparing something special around recapitalization, banking, and of course, we're going to bring out our Tier 1 reports. So stay glued, keep watching our site, and keep tabs with what we're about to bring out very fresh from the ProShare desk. Till we come your way again, enrich yourself with the knowledge of socioeconomic developments around you because it is the wise thing to do. I'm Ottoabasi Abasiekong. Thank you for watching and bye for now.